Welcome back, people, to the cutting room. We're going to call this part two. Sorry for the technical issues.
It's my fault, people.
Always going to happen. Always going to happen. It's either my internet or someone else. Yeah, so we were asking questions about, we've seen what kind of brought you to the business. Um, I want to know about your face paint and your art.
Okay, so uh, my favorite wrestlers growing up were the guys with the paint, Warriors, Sting, the Legion of Doom, Road Warriors, Great Muda. I was always drawn to wrestlers with paint, and when I started wrestling, because I was doing the music thing, my trainer wanted me to do like a. He's like, it could be like a John Cena thing, except you sing, or they had all these ideas about including music, and I was like, me being a wrestling fan, an old school guy, and all that kind of stuff. I was like, yeah, but that's not a main event act. I don't. That's that type of character has a shelf life where I felt like it wouldn't give me longevity. Like I could do that character for a while, but then I would have to evolve into something else.
Mhm.
And for me, I thought about face paint because at the time, no black wrestlers was really wearing face paint that I could think of. So this was the main thing that I thought that would set me apart from other wrestlers. And then it went right back to my favorites, So yeah, and I also wore a little paint when I did the little music thing too. So it all just coincided together.
I think other than you, I think one of the only ones I can actually remember, you know, African American guys was the Barbarian
Right.
with the Warlord there. I think the Powers of Pain.
Yep.
Um, I remember, but we wanted to talk about them because I always say the Powers of Pain were a copy of Legion of Doom and the Road Warriors that were just, everyone wanted
Hmm.
to be Orc and Animal. God rest their souls. Um, but you, I mean, I look at your merch lines and I just think, wow,
Yeah, I'm
wow.
always trying to think of little marketing ideas and things that it's all about branding. And from coming back, I could see I said a couple. Here in Georgia, when I came back, social media wasn't that present in the wrestling game. Not a lot of people were doing reels and all of that kind of stuff. That's really has stepped up over the past 2 years. And I can say I was one of the first people to really started posting reels and using this
Yeah,
avenue. And it's all about branding. When I went to school in Morton earlier this year for the NWA tryout, I did. Ricky Morton told everybody this you can't wait on this business to come to you. The business will never come to you. You have to
no,
go to it. So
yeah,
for me, it's always being on top of my branding, marketing, making sure I'm posting, making sure I'm not just putting up match highlights because a couple tryouts I've been to, there's like we would rather watch a captivating promo that tells us a story versus watching you do five flips. Because everybody can flip.
yeah.
Everybody can do cool stuff in the ring, but can you tell a story? Can you talk people into the building? Can you sell a main event? Can you really captivate your audience and make them want to come back in an episodic show, come back again?
That's
Come
right.
back the next week to see what's going to happen. So my mindset on wrestling is way different from anybody that just wrestles. I'm always thinking about the business standpoint and the money making standpoint, the marketing standpoint. I think about all of that when I think about myself.
That's why John Cena was so good. That's why John Cena was so successful. John Cena. I remember when John Cena obviously first came on the scene. Um, you know, ruthless aggression.
Hmm.
That was a story in itself because the story was all about a comment by the owner Vincent Kennedy McMahon. John Cena answered the call,
Yeah.
and went on to become Doctor of Thugonomics. And then
You
we
constantly saw his character evolve. Yep.
and we see that guy could just build a rivalry off his mic work in itself.
Hmm.
You do the same thing for your Facebook and for your reels.
Yeah.
You know, and it's there to see. I mean, I watched your post yesterday, and at Shindig, someone's
Yeah,
going to
that's
get kicked
Saturday.
in the
Yep.
throat. I'm going to make you bleed. I'm turning up to fight. And I was like, dude, you can't, you catch people, you know? And I've always said, I mean, before I started doing obviously what I'm doing now, I used to do podcasting with another group of people. I
Mhm.
always used to say, I used to use sayings. I mean, I always used to say, in order for you to be a over face, you first need to be a over heel. Now, I strongly believe in that, and I think Roman Reigns was a perfect example. He was
Yes.
They threw him down the throat of people, and no sooner as I said, listen, let the guy just be himself.
Mm.
Allow him some sort of control. And no sooner as they let him be the tribal chief, he was able to live off his real life heritage, you know, who he was away
Mhm.
from WWE. And you know what made me smile more was the fact that people hated him. You know, they
Yep.
hated him. And I mean, when I listen to you talk, not just you, there's a list of indie guys out there, and I listen and I look and I observe, and I'm like, these guys are speaking from a point of view of how people look at them and portray them, and don't be fooled because they're not to be taken lightly.
And I'm aware. I'm very aware of who the face paint appeals to. I know my face paint appeals to kids. I know who my character appeals to. And as a baby face, good guy, whatever, that's where I'm at in my career right now with
Yeah,
every promotion I work with. And I know what my demographic and my target audience is.
yeah.
And then I use my in-ring skills to target that 18 to 35 range. And then my chain wrestling and the way I sell and everything in the ring that appeals to the older generation because they're used to seeing
That's it.
stories told. So I'm aware of what my character, how it appeals to different demographics and everything.
I like that. I like that. How you're marketing yourself from a business stance to, categories. I mean, I'm a 42-year-old, and I'm a WCW fanatic. You
Mm.
know, I'm a Midnight Express guy. I'm a Jim Cornette guy. A lot of people don't like Jim Cornette, but I love Jim Cornette.
I mean,
Um,
you can hate the things that he say and all of that, but no one can deny the effect that he's had on this business, the inspiration he's had, and the great things that he's done in
right.
this business. You may not agree with what he says now or the crazy stuff he does now, but that still doesn't negate what
I think
he's
I
done.
think Jim I think Jim he's definitely not misunderstood because the guy is crazy as just he's ridiculous. His
He's like,
behavior.
you know how you get when you get older, you like, I don't care. I'll say whatever I want to say. I'm old now. Nobody can do shit to me no more. So I think he's just in that stage of life. I'm old. I don't give a fuck, and I don't care what people say to
No,
me or say about
exactly.
me.
Well, that's how I am. I mean, I used to work with a couple of cats at a different podcast, and we used to do promo battle royales and promo tournaments. And I used to like, obviously, you see their best heel in the business. I had a tendency just to kind of like really, really get under people's skin in a way that I could kind of frustrate the shit out of you,
Mm.
but to the point that I made you hate me. And I succeeded because I'm no longer working with them people. So that's it. I looked through your Facebook, right, and I found something called motivations.
Mm. What did
Okay.
it say?
Now, when I read these motivations, I got you. I could understand you. and it was weird because one jumped out at me, and you know, like yourself, you've been through situations, and I'm going through something very very soon. And I read this thing, and it said, "Thank God for people talking about me." I love people talking about me because I always think it the day people stop talking about me is the day I don't matter.
Mm.
Is the day I don't matter. So if I always say, if my granddad used to say to me, if you ain't got nothing nice to say to people, don't say nothing at all.
What's
And I
the date on
remember,
that post? What's the date on that one?
I haven't got it in front of me. I haven't got it in front of me, but it
I
is
think
there.
I think the context, just to give a little context on that one too. I did tell you that I did the first ever Georgia Wrestling History Award show in Yella, came up with that event and everything. But when it was hit with a lot of negative feedback when we first announced that a wrestler was in charge, and there was a lot of negative feedback about us trying to do the event. Oh, it's too soon. It just was so much negative feedback. And I decided to take a different route. I didn't respond to any negative feedback. I didn't comment on it. I just kept moving forward with the event. I kept promoting, kept planning, and the event ended up being a success. And everybody that had negative feedback at the beginning when we started planning it recanted and said, I thought you couldn't pull it off, and blah blah blah. That happened after the awards. So for me, in everything that I do it with confidence. So if I don't feel like I can't pull it off, I'm not gonna put myself in something that I don't feel like I can't put my
Right.
best foot forward and really make it happen. So yeah, you got to know what you want, and you got to know what you want to do, and not worry about what everyone else is thinking, because everyone's going to hate on something that they've never seen before until they see it.
I say,
So
your trolls are as important as the people that sit
who
there
do
and
support?
support you all day long. End of the day, every 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 comment, every view, every like, every dislike, they pay the bills.
Mm-hmm.
They pay the bills. So
Yes.
you know, long will hate continue. That's what I say. You know, and if it starts getting boring, I'm going to give you a reason to dislike me. You know,
Well. Mhm.
I'm a heel fan all day long. I love heel. I
So that's
love
the
heels.
next when that chapter does happen in my career.
I can't
Um,
wait.
people, they love me in my role that I currently have.
Yeah,
But before I left the business, I had moved into a heel role,
yeah.
and that's where you really got to see my personality come out. So I don't know when it's happening. I don't know if it's going to happen.
I can't wait because you know what
But when
makes
it
me smile
happens,
more.
trust me, that's when people are gonna be like, "Where is this character? Where is this personality
Yeah,
been on the side?"
yeah,
You
yeah.
got to know what your demographic is for the role that you're in at that point in time, and I will know that demographic when it's time for me to switch. And when I do switch, it's gonna be a whole different dynamic.
See that's the one thing I always say. You know, I live for the moments in wrestling where something makes me smile. Something makes me smile. Now, you know what makes me smile more than anything? I love that moment in WCW at Bash at the Beach when Hogan turned and joined the NWO. I love that moment. Um, you know, when someone has that effect
I
or that,
need that moment, and I'm gonna have it.
you
I'm gonna
know,
have that
I always
moment.
say that I always wanted Cena to do it. Before he ended his career, I wanted that moment, and I always
I
said
did
the
too.
moment should have come at WrestleMania with when The Rock was in the ring with the Wyatt family,
Mm.
and that moment where
It's
Cena
been plenty
obviously
moments
comes.
that they could have done it. I just think it didn't line up on what he
I,
had
I,
going on
I was
outside.
waiting. I was waiting. I was on the edge of my seat, and I was like, "Do it, do it." You know, I want Cena just to make an audience of kids cry.
I do too.
You know, um,
Now,
that
just
moments
to
for me.
touch on that, I think with me being an older school fan, the biggest gripe I have with heels and bad guys in this business today, they're a bad guy in the ring, they're a bad guy on the show, but then they're on social media interacting with fans and talking. When I decide to do whatever I'm going to do, switch it up. That part switch changes also. I feel like a heel, a back. You should be a heel 24/7. You should
I said
live that
yes.
gimmick. You should be that gimmick on Instagram, Twitter,
Yeah,
whatever. You should be doing that
yeah.
all the time. And if you're not meant to be a bad guy in this business. You're
No,
not meant to be a heel. All these heels trying to be like. Why are you trying to be like? That's not what it. It
yeah,
just kills me.
yeah.
It kills me. I'm sorry.
You're treating. I'm exactly the same as you because I look at some of them and I'm like, you're treating wrestling like a job. You know,
My philosophy on wrestling is it's always better when there's a definitive character on each side. There's a definitive good guy. There's a good definitive bad guy. That's when wrestling is at its best. And I think we've gotten so much to the shades of gray and you know just wanting to see good in ring action. I've never been just wanting to see good in ring action. I've always wanted to see a good story told in the ring. So certain promotions is hard for me to watch because I just can't get into just
no,
watching
I'm
a
the
good
same.
20-minute match.
I'm the same. I am
Yeah.
the same, or I become like that. And it's not just when you put a comment and people go, "Oh, he's a mark." No, I'm one of these people. I'm a wrestling fan in inverted commas. I
And
watch
wrestling
wrestling
fan
because I
doesn't mean
like
you
it.
just like to watch wrestling move. Wrestling fan means you like every aspect of the business. Like
Yeah,
you like the
yeah,
stories,
yeah.
the promo video, all that.
You know, anything's open for criticism. You
Yes.
know, I can watch a 3-hour Raw show, and I can guarantee I'll criticize a good 2 hours of it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and promos can be too much and too often. In-ring work for certain wrestlers cannot be enough. Um, Repetitive angles, repetitive promos.
Mm-hmm.
No, just too much of that sometimes, and that's why it's a breath of fresh air sometimes to just go onto YouTube and just watch indie wrestling
Mm-hmm.
because it's all business. You know what I mean? They're not kind of putting it out there to Fox networks and all these networks that you know they're just run by the people that
They
want
actually
to say
love
all the
wrestling.
right
Yeah.
things. You know, um, in your spare time. I mean, I've said about Alex Kane,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm waiting for you to walk out in MLW. That's going to come. That's definitely going to come. I know it is. I know it is. It's coming. It's coming. And I can guarantee before the year's out, I'll see you on AEW as well.
Whatever, like I said,
I'm,
whatever opportunities come for me,
I'm going to
I will
start
be ready.
defending you.
I'm going to be ready. I've been to a couple of tryouts over the past year that didn't hone out the same. Just everybody said that was going to be there wasn't there, or there were too many people there. It just was a lot going on. So, like I said, I am 100% ready for whatever's next, and whoever calls or puts me in a position to see about me, they will see about me. I will be ready because,
I
like the
sent,
shirt says, it's always time to fight.
I sent Shane Taylor a message earlier on. Me and Shane speak quite a lot. I said, Shane, I said, you need to work with Najasism. I said, you need to, man. You need to give this kid a call and work with him. And do you know why we were on the subject of heel turns? I said to him, you need to have this kid in Shane Taylor Promotions. I said, I want to see him take that front camera and tell people what's up.
I can't wait. It's going to happen one day.
It will
it's,
happen.
it's going to happen soon. It's going to happen soon. I can't wait. It's going to be, with my acting experience, with my, you know, my dad, everything. That's when you're going to see the full package come together.
You're
I can
talented.
say that.
You're talented, sir. You're definitely. You're definitely. I mean, I've got a wall chart. I got a wall chart, and I've got 10 people on that wall chart for 2023. Guys, we need to watch for 2023 who will excel. Yeah, and I do it based on stats, activity. You, sir, are number 2.
Thank you for that.
You, sir, are number 2. Um, you've wrestled number 1.
Okay. Wow.
You've wrestled number 1.
Who's number
You
one?
wrestled number 1. Let me see. Yeah, you definitely wrestled number 1. You definitely wrestled Alex Kane.
Yeah, that just happened.
You definitely wrestled Alex Kane. Now, Alex Kane has just won the Riot Battle Royale to become the number 1 contender.
Yep.
Mr. Alex Armstrong is only shining that up because his time's done. That is it. It's Boomaier time, And once Boomaier time has got his hands on the MLW title, you're going to show up on MLW.
Mm.
Hey, I see these things, Najee. I see these things.
Let's go. It's time to fight.
It is time to fight. TV movies. Are you a TV movie fan?
TV movie? I would say no. I'm a movie buff. I love I love all types of movies.
Favorite movie of all time? Go.
Oh, come on. You can't do that to me. Can I name 3?
You can go 3.
All right, let's see. Color Purple. Uh The Running Man, Arnold Schwarzenegger. And oh damn, I have so many favorite movies. I love all the Avenger movies, all the I'm just gonna say one of my favorites that I watched as a kid because we had the tape and I just watched it all the time over and over. Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck, right? You're talking about Howard the Duck, right? The other day I was reading this thing on the internet.
I can't believe I said Howard the Duck.
I love it. I love it, right? Because listen, I read somewhere Howard the Duck is voted in the top 10 worst films ever made. I disagree.
I disagree. That is a great movie.
I disagree. I've got this vendetta, personal hate of Michael Bay. It's a personal hate of Michael Bay. Michael Bay ruined my baby, my Transformers. I can never forgive Michael Bay for that because I'm an 80s child. My favorite movie of all time is it's just none other than Scarface.
Okay.
Followed by Top Gun.
Now I have some other favorite movies. I just named some off the top of my head, but I love action movies. I love old school martial arts films.
You see,
Yeah.
I'm a big old school martial arts fan. Massive. Cynthia Rothrock, David Bradley. Do you know what I mean? If Bruce Lee, obviously. A lot of the old Jackie Chan stuff. Operation Condor is probably my favorite. You know what I mean? It's just martial arts versus meets Indiana Jones. That is Operation Condor for me. Do you game? Xbox, PlayStation?
So I used to game a lot, but now I really don't. I have a PS4 that I barely use. Um, and honestly, my game fandom when I was younger, I did do more types of games, but mostly my game fandom is wrestling games. Wrestling games, UFC, martial art games, and then every once in a while, if I'm around a group of people that are playing something else, I may play it. But
Mhm.
I was always that guy when October or November comes or September comes, I'm getting a new WWE game. And before that, I would get the WCW thing. That was what I loved. Like I always tell people growing up, I watched superhero stuff and I watched cartoons, but I never was really invested into animation or cartoons or all that
Yeah.
stuff because wrestlers were my superheroes. Wrestling is what I watched all the time. If it was on, I was watching it. I didn't care if it was an hour long show that only had squash matches. I'm watching it. That's how I was. I really didn't watch too much of cartoons and all of that. When we went to the store, I didn't really buy other toys. I only wanted wrestling toys, and my mom would be like, "That's all you want? That's all I want. I don't want no clothes. I don't want no shoes. I don't want no other kind of toys. All I want is wrestling toys. Don't buy me nothing else. If I got other stuff, I would be pissed off that they bought clothes or they bought because I be like, you spent $50 on clothes when you could have bought me 3 wrestling toys. You could have bought me 10 wrestling toys. And you could have
Oh,
bought
yeah.
me way more wrestling toys for these 2 pieces of clothes. You
I
know.
collect. I collect. The older I've gotten over the last 2 years, I've started collecting stuff
Mm,
because I gave up alcohol, I gave up cigarettes. So I figured, you know what? I'll start collecting something so I can always reward myself for
mm-hmm.
giving up the things that I feel held me back for a lot of my life. So I started collecting AEW figures,
Okay.
and to the point where none of them have ever come out the box.
Oh wow.
Never come
Do you
out
have
the
them on
box.
a wall somewhere?
They're going up on the wall. Once I get my recording room properly set up, and they're all going to be proper set up. Um, I've got my AEW figures, um, and just other movie memorabilia. I'm a Batman fan,
Mm.
huge Batman fan. Um, yeah,
I'm starting to get into trying to. So one thing I haven't done in my career is like take a lot of pictures. And since I've come back, I have. Uh, but not collect a lot of the posters, the flyers I was on, and I never really took the time. So now that I have my little studio in my house, I'm kind of like putting up flyers and collecting little posters and stuff. Just kind of making a room. That's where I'm at right now. A
yeah.
room where I can just keep memorabilia, and I have fans who give me pictures of fans who have given me like cards for Christmas and all this different stuff. Little fans have given me. I kind of like am creating a little shrine with a lot of this stuff so I can remember. And then
I'm
I
a big
also want to
fan
get some
of.
shelves here and do
I'm a
some
big fan of
collectors.
seeing how wrestlers live away from the ring, and I'm a big believer in wrestlers should have creativity over their lives away from the ring. I
Mm,
guy all the time, Ethan Page from obviously AEW, and I
mm-hmm.
watch him on his toy hunts, and he fascinates me. How he can take 2 or 3 people with him to a toy store and just they go wild, and I'm like, this really wouldn't happen in WWE. He just
Mm.
doesn't,
That's
creative
something I would do.
control.
That's definitely
You know,
something I would do. That's
you know,
crazy.
I wouldn't. I honestly couldn't work for someone that wouldn't, would tie me down. But at the same time, when the calling comes, you've got a dilemma. You, sir, will have that dilemma.
It's time.
It
Uh,
is time.
and I keep telling, a lot of young wrestlers when they talk to me, they're complaining about certain things or whining about. I'm like, look, this business is not a a quick 500-meter sprint or whatever. This is a marathon. It's all about longevity. You can be hot for a year, or like it's a lot of young wrestlers in Georgia right now that they are really hot. They're getting their names out there and stuff like that. And I was like, that's good for the first couple months, first year. But longevity wise, can you last 3 years wrestling at the level that you're wrestling at? Can your body take it? It's a lot more that goes into this business. You can be hot at one point, so you always have to be working on your branding, your character and everything like that, because it's always going to be some new fish in the sea. It's always going to be some new wrestlers on the block doing things and looking at what you're doing, and then they come out doing something a little better than what you're doing because they've been watching what you're doing. Now they're imitating it and coming up with something a little bit. So you always got to be on top of your game, and that's just where I'm at right now. I pay attention to what other people are doing, and I just continue to try to set myself apart.
Sir, before we go, what have you got coming up?
Okay, I'm gonna knock out a couple shows I have coming up. This Friday, I am defending the PCW Championship. Yep, um, against the Ripper Trey Shaw, young and up and coming talent who is a part of a group called Eastside Ronins, and he won a big tournament to get the shot at me. And Trey is traveling; he's doing his thing right now, and I'm excited to get in the ring with a young talent like him to see if he can possibly take this off of me. And then very next day, I'm facing Techi Makuji at Shindig, which you mentioned earlier, and
Good
he's
guy.
double my size, 390 pounds, 6'3". Um, yeah, and he's a vet, he's experienced, he's a giant, and yeah, I'm gonna whip his ass Saturday. So yeah, um, then coming up in 2 weeks, I have PCW again, and I have Deep South Wrestling ran by former WCW, WWE referee Nick Patrick, who I had the honor of doing his retirement match last year, which was a big honor. He chose me to be one of the wrestlers to do his retirement match, and big honor. He is my favorite referee of all time, and that's
I'm a
one
big
thing
Nick
this past year,
Patrick
being
fan.
able to meet some of the people I looked up to, like Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson, and just these different people who I've had the honor of watching all my life, Teddy Long and all that. Um, so that's pretty much it. Deep South have a big show coming up with them, and I may have another opportunity that someone called about yesterday that kind of talks about what you were talking about earlier. So we're gonna see where all of this goes,
I
but
told you, I don't know nothing. No one tells me nothing, but I know something.
things are
You know,
coming, and I just gotta continue to work hard. And the last thing I will tell you, like, I have been in 2 car accidents over the past 3 weeks, so I am rehabbing. I'm in physical therapy right now, and my body is killing me. And I know I'm at a point in my career where it's like I can't afford to take any time off, so I'm doing everything to rehab. I'm icing every day. I'm Epsom salt bathing. I'm stretching. I'm going to the chiropractor 3 times a week. So I'm doing. That's the part people don't see. They see the promos, they see the highlight reels and stuff, but
mhm,
they don't really get what it takes to actually keep going with this.
mhm.
So yeah, I'm going through a lot of. I went to like 6 or 7 doctor's appointments just this week alone. So there's a lot that goes into making me be able to do this still. After one accident was a rear end accident, and I was just sitting still. My car was literally sitting still, ready to turn. Big Silverado truck just rammed straight in the back of me. And then the other one was a head-on collision where they pulled right in front of me illegally. So it's been 2 bad accidents, and I'm still pushing. I'm still training. I'm still good to go. I haven't been in the ring in about 2.5 weeks now, but I have been able to stretch and everything like that. So today will be my first day actually attempting to do some cardio. I'm gonna go to the arena, attempt to do a little cardio, start working on getting my body to be somewhat prepared for this weekend.
You sir are an absolute legend.
Please.
I have no. Listen, you'll get where you want to get because you're hungry and because I'm psychic. and
Okay.
I've already seen it. So when your wrestling figure comes out,
Mm.
Butcher gets one signed
Speaking
by
in existence, that
Navigator himself.
I'll be mailing you a signed one.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Um,
Thank you for having me.
you're more than welcome, sir, and we will speak again further
Yes, of
down the
course.
road. So people, this is the cutting room. I'll see you at the last house on the left. You know why? Because it's cutting time.